In our Sunday specials tonight, victims of the recent flood disaster in Jigawa State, northwestern Nigeria, are pleading with the state and federal government to provide lasting solutions to the devastating floods that has devastated their towns for over 20 years, resulting in loss of lives and destruction of property worth millions of naira. Our TVC News correspondent Yusuf Isa has the story.
A devastating flood hit Jigawa State in northwestern Nigeria. Many people were left stranded. Muhammad Ibrahim is one of the victims. He lost his home and is now living in a temporary IDP camp with his family.
We had over 7 rooms in this house, a place where we made so many memories, where our children grew up, but now they are all gone. The floodwaters came, and they collapsed one by one. I remember the sounds of the walls cracking, the roof caving in. It was like a nightmare.
Yunus Agarba and Salisu Musa are also victims of the flood. Heavy rainfall caused their building to collapse. They lost everything. Now, Muhammad Ibrahim, Yunus Agarba, and Salisu Musa are struggling to survive in an IDP camp. Their situation is very difficult.
This house was more than just a building. It was our family's legacy. We had over 12 rooms, each one filled with love, laughter, and tears. But in a matter of hours, it was all gone. We were left with nothing but the clothes on our backs. I'm scared for the future. How will we rebuild our lives? How will we provide for our children? The uncertainty is overwhelming. The flood took everything from us.
The recent flood disaster in Jigawa State has left a trail of destruction, affecting over 148 communities. With 7,500 households impacted, more than 50,000 people have been displaced. The floods have also washed away around 11,500 farmlands, leaving many without a source of income. Tragically, 33 lives have been lost.
The flood swept away my farm, leaving me with almost nothing. The situation is dire. With my farm washed away by the flood waters, we are now struggling to find food to eat.
We had over 7 rooms in this house, a place where we made so many memories, where our children grew up, but now they are all gone. The floodwaters came.
The recent flooding submerged my house, leaving me with nothing. It is a devastating tragedy. The flood disaster claimed my son's life when our building collapsed. I have lost my home and my child.
Community members in Jahon, Mega, and Jigawa local government have been struggling with annual flooding since 2005, with the Akama Pond posing a continuous threat. They believe that the increasing impact of climate change has worsened the flooding.
A lot of property has been lost, and also buildings, structure, houses, shops, and what have you. All this has been destroyed by this water.
The issue of this flooding is a perennial issue. Year in, year out, we have the same problem. And unfortunately, up to now, there has not been a solution.
We just need a permanent solution to this problem.
The flooding has resulted in significant loss of life and property. Many of the affected residents now have to rebuild their shelter. These communities are urging the government to implement a permanent solution, which includes dredging the Akama Pond and constructing flood control measures. They also call for actions to mitigate the effects of climate change to prevent future flooding.
So we as a community member of that local government, we are appealing to the state governor to come into our aid and also find a final and workable solution to this problem of the flood in Jahon local government, especially this Akama Pond.
Oh, it's been a nightmare. The flood waters came suddenly, and before we knew it, our home was underwater. I was so scared, trying to grab what little I could, but most of our belongings were washed away. My children were crying, and my husband was trying to save what he could, but it was too much. Now we're left with nothing. No food, no clothes, no home. I'm worried about how we'll survive. I'm devastated. The flood took everything: our home, our belongings, our food. I'm worried about my children's well-being. We need help to start over.
In response, President Bola Tinubu's Defense Minister, Muhammad Badar Abubakar, the House Committee on Ecological Fund, and the Jigawa State Government have extended their condolences to the flood victims. They have assessed the damage and pledged federal and state support to the affected communities.
On behalf of myself and the government of Jigawa State, express our deep sympathies to the people affected by the recent flood that occurred in about 13 local government areas in Jigawa State. Already, the state government is intervening to provide emergency reliefs to those affected. Equally, the federal government, through the National Emergency Management Agencies, have also expressed their sympathies to those affected.
On behalf of the President of the Federal Republic, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, he asked me also to condole, even though he has done that, and they have called the governor to condole him over the deaths of the people and to sympathize with him on the loss of the properties. He said, I should deliver his message personally to you, that he sympathizes with you and the good people of Jigawa State over this flooding incidents. And he said his heart is with you, and he will do everything possible to support your cause.
So here in Jigawa, I will make sure that Jigawa State partake and benefit from whatever resolution the committee and the National Assembly will have, and then inshallah it is going to be tabled before the ecological office.
As the situation in these communities worsens, residents remain hopeful that the government will heed their calls for assistance and provide a sustainable solution to the flooding crisis. Many attribute the recent floods to the 7 consecutive days of heavy rainfall, a phenomenon that is unprecedented in Jigawa State's history.
In Kaduna State, a small community called Maru, located in Kajuru local government area, has been grappling with the incessant attacks by armed gangs and bandits that have left residents in fear. Well, reporter brings us an exclusive report from Maru, where the cry for help gets louder every day.
Maru, a quiet community located between Kachia and Kagarko in Kajuru local government area of Kaduna State, is a place where life used to be peaceful. But now, insecurity has shattered that peace. A sense of fear has settled over the people in these once thriving villages.
Yanzu ba ma yin kwana daya ko biyu ba a shiga ba, kashewa dai daya biyu uku hudu biyar 20 ana mana mutuwa saboda su satan mutane ne.
The borders that surrounds the Maru community are having thick bushes where these bandits form their camps. That is within Kachia, Kagarko, and Chukun local government.
Mutanen ba su kwana cikin gidaje, suna kwana a dazuka. Yawancin mutane sun ja sun gudu, fiye da kauyuka 6. Ana kwashe mutane ko jiya har kashewa, ana ta kashewa. Yawancin mutane suna kwana a daji.
The people of Maru are predominantly farmers, but the recurring attacks have made farming a dangerous endeavor. Many have abandoned their fields, afraid to venture out.
Maru, the people in Maru are mostly farmers. That it may interest us to know that during rainy season, their land is fertile and they have a lot of yield. They have high rate of yield on whatever they farm in Maru, and you can name some of the crops like ginger, millet, corn, and some other food crops like that. And again, you can also get honey in large quantity, because the people that sells honey used to come to Maru at some periods to come and buy honey. The insecurity is enormous, because definitely many people left the villages. Some were killed, and the ones that remained, of course, has to flee out from the village because of the insecurity.
A haka din ma noma da an yi girbi ya gagara, mutum ya je gona bai dawo ba zuwa dare, to in an je gurin da safe za ga gawan shi. Noma ma ya ma gagara, wanda sun yi zuciyan da kundan gan sun dan tsaya da mudun nan sun yi zuciyan saboda sun ji za a zo sojoji za su zo, shi yasa wadannan sun fito daga daji sun zo din nan.
The locals speak of the heavily armed attackers who wield sophisticated weapons. With nothing more than ding guns and catapults, the villagers have no way to defend themselves. Their only options are to flee, hide, and pray for their safety.
During the time that if they come, we have nothing to do. See, this is what we are using to find them. But we cannot find them with a knife. Well, they are holding gun.
Despite the fear, Maru is not resigned to his fate. The community, in a move seen by many as a brave stand against adversity, have decided to explore other options. They have called for security forces to be deployed to their community, aiming to improve response times to distress calls. Despite waiting for approval, they have taken matters into their own hands, pooling resources to build a security base for soldiers, preparing for the day help arrives. The hope is that this base will cut response times and provide a stronger presence to deter attackers.
Maru is a very strategic ward because it is surrounded by ungoverned space. We're talking about some million hectares of ungoverned space, and that makes us very prone to attacks and prone to kidnapping and all these social vices. So having a project like that in Maru, will help repel these bandits and terrorists, because most of the attacks we see people passing, and then sometimes when people are released, they come through our villages. The ungoverned space behind Maru links us to Abuja route, Abuja highway, and then that makes us very open to some of this. That's why we always get incessant attacks every now and then. So it's very strategic in that having a camp like that will see to the easy, prompt action, in places we suspect that is housing these bandits and terrorists. There are places we suspect, and then we know, we think that if the military can, have a serious operation around there, can have an operation around there, it's going to cope all these attacks.
Sincerely, we must commend the efforts of first the military, that is from the CDS office, the 1DIF command, the sector commander, and also the efforts of the state governor, distinguished Senator Obasani, who is also making much efforts in encouraging the military to help us out. Sincerely, if we have that in place, it will assist in curbing the security of Kajuru, part of Kachia, Kagarko, Chukun, and so on. It will help greatly, because military will be there. The bandits will be afraid to intimidate the villagers again.
At a time when the economic hardship is being felt by all, the community is struggling to complete the project. The funds are running low, and the unfinished structures stand as a symbol of both hope and hardship. Now Maru is reaching out, asking for support to finish what they started.
Abu da za a ci ma ya gagara, amma a haka din ma muna kokari mu tara kudi mu gani mun gyara inda sojojin da su zo na ruwan sha, bohol da dai sauransu. Amma muna godiya, muna roƙon ku a taimaka inda halin taimaka, a taimake mu da wadannan abubuwan nan, abinda mun kasa a taimake mu.
We are calling those that they are financially enough, that they can hear our crying, so that they should come and help us and clean our tears, so that we should be living here more comfortable. If not so, Maru will be no more people here.
that's it on TVC News this hour. For more updates on our stories, you can go to our website. Thanks so much for watching. Bye for now.